Start the meeting with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody to the February 20th meeting of the Village Board. Our first order of business is a public hearing to consider a proposed local law to amend the Village Code, Section 292-19 and 261-30 to prohibit discharge of sump pump water onto public lands in a manner to create a hazard or nuisance and to prohibit the discharge of sump pump water to sanitary sewage facilities. Can I get a reading of proof of publication?
Notice is hereby given that pursuant to Section 7-706 of the Village Law of the State of New York and pursuant to resolution of the Village Board of the Village of Baldwinsville, adopted February 6, 2020, a public hearing will be held by the Village Board to consider a proposed local law to amend the Village Code, Sections 292-19 and 261-30, to prohibit discharge of sump pump water onto public lands in a manner to create a hazard or nuisance and to prohibit the discharge of sump pump water to sanitary sewage facilities. A copy of the proposed local law may be examined by any interested party at the office of the village clerk. At the time and place of the hearing, all interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the proposal? Anyone wishing to speak against the proposal? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn and close the public hearing?
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And we'll move on to the regular meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the Village Board meeting minutes from February 6, 2020?
Moved.
Second.
Questions, changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'm going to abstain. I wasn't here. They looked fine, but I just wasn't here.
I wasn't here either.
You just second the
But
motion.
you just, she made it. Because I'm like,
That was
okay.
a quick meeting too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That night.
let's break the record.
Oh, you guys set yourself up for that one. Okay. We'll move on to citizens' comments. We have Jenny Russell here. Talk about the Wild Carp Classic. I guess I don't have to say your name. I just said it. So.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. The Wild Carp Classic this year is going to be from May 27th to May 30th. We moved it back a little later. Hopefully pray for nice weather. It always rains. So we're coming to see if we can use the pegs in town and Lions Park again. I think that's all
Have them in
Paul
the village
asks.
down at Community Park in that area?
Yes, and also in town.
We don't have anything to do with the town.
No,
Okay.
along the,
Along the
along the,
Oh, along the trail.
village.
yeah.
Yes,
Yes, okay.
Paul usually does this, so. So I'm here, so
Steve
this is
knows,
what.
I'm sure.
Yes, that's why I'm looking at Steve. So Paul also wants me to ask if we can, I know you have the community outlook, he wants to know if we don't want to fish on the community outlook, but just next to it, and nothing, we will not let them put the rod pods or anything on there. He just wants to know if we could be next to it. He wants to know if we're able to do that. So he wanted me to ask at this meeting as well.
Our preference would be no.
To be honest. I just don't think that the fishing and the overlook are consistent. I mean, quite often we're getting people there, they're sitting, so we have signs up specifically. Now, if you wanted to permit it for the event, we could, but generally we're saying there's no fishing directly adjacent to the overlook.
Mm-hmm.
So from the overlook or directly adjacent to it. It'd be up to the board whether you want to give permission.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you that the overlook would probably be off limits as far as somebody setting up their fishing station on the overlook type thing. And because you're talking 3 days, it would be, people out walking wouldn't be able to.
Well, they don't want to be on it.
We won't be on
They
it.
want to be on either side of it, adjacent to it, because we cleared out an area specifically to open up the view So knowing that it would be a favorable fishing location, we put signs up to say no fishing, just because we just think that people casting and being right adjacent to where people are, possibly behind them, we thought that it was inconsistent. But, that was just my thought. I went ahead and put those signs up. If you wanted to do something,
Anybody have any
it'd
thoughts?
be,
Yeah, we wouldn't allow them to put their rod pods or anything on the overlook. Yeah, the only time they would step on the overlook is if they had to step on there to reel in the fish. But that would take 5-10 minutes at the most.
Was that a location that you had a peg at in
Yes.
the past? So
Yeah.
You'd be losing,
Yeah, so this fall, when it was there, they moved a peg farther down a little bit, and Paul said there were a lot of snags there, so it was really hard for the guys to get the fish in.
Thoughts, Mark?
Well, I think they're going to end up on that, out on the actual observatory area regardless, and I'm just a little bit worried. Could we close that off somehow, and so they wouldn't have access to that during this event?
we could.
I don't see an awful lot. I go down there a lot to walk through, and I don't see an awful lot of foot traffic when the fishing is going on, except to kind of watch the fishing. That's about it. So, if we were able to close that off so that people weren't on it, that would be better than, I think, allowing them to get on it even to reel and fish. That's just my opinion on it.
Well, wouldn't that be a good place for somebody who's watching them fish to go out?
Except that when they cast right adjacent to that?
They cast adjacent, but, so when we usually do have spectators, usually the anglers will ask them to make sure they step back so they don't want to hurt the spectators.
Just worried about somebody getting, in the way.
Yeah, the anglers do ask them to step back because they know they don't want to hurt the spectators. Because when we get a lot of spectators down in Onondaga Lake Park, that's where we get the spectators a lot. So they do ask them to step back because it's cool watching them fish. It's fun to watch them. So they do ask them, like, hey, step back because we're going to cast, and and then they come back up to where they are fishing. So even if they did watch them from the overlook, they would ask them, if they were in the way, they'd ask them to step back a little bit.
Well, that's probably something we should consider, what we want to make up for a policy down there.
Would you have you'd have two pins there, one on either side?
No, one peg, just one. So just one team would be there. So it'd be depending on how many rod pods would be there, either 2 anglers or 3 anglers, but just one peg.
I think we ought to talk about it, make sure we're comfortable. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but at least
Okay.
we have a chance to consider
Okay,
how we want to.
that sounds great.
Kind of exciting. This is all gearing up for what, the World Classic coming?
Yeah, and we're hoping the ink's going to be dry. We're hoping everything is going to come. There's a Congress, the FIPSED Congress in Acapulco, the beginning of May, and I hear that's when they're going to finalize everything. So,
That would
crossing
be
our fingers.
2022?
2022. Yeah, and that's going to be, we're thinking September 2022. Yeah, so we went to the Chamber of Commerce last week and presented, and we're going to need lots of marshals, I'm telling everyone, so that's what I'm telling everybody.
That'd be pretty
I
exciting.
need marshals. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be really exciting, so,
If you could, send me an email
okay.
with any requests that you have as far as usage of our property, just so I have it on paper. You get to an age where the things go in.
Yeah, absolutely, for the worlds and everything. Yeah, I originally was starting to talk to Visit Syracuse because, they're going to be doing all the arranging for teams coming in and booking hotels and all that kind of stuff. And I told them I would prefer because they do parades, the Worlds do, I would prefer the huge parade to be in Baldwinsville. So I'm hoping to do that here because this is where it all started. So, also, from what I heard too, is they have little kids. It's like the Olympics. They bring in each country. So I also want to use Baldwinsville School District for that.
If you give me, like the name of the organization that makes that decision, I'd be
Yeah.
happy to write them a letter.
Okay.
Encourage them to
Yeah.
do what you're suggesting.
Okay, yeah, because I definitely want to loop Baldwinsville and everything because, and I want to use Baldwinsville's marching band and that
That'd be
stuff.
nice.
My daughter's Irish step dancing school, though, so I gotta use that one. So I have lots of ideas.
I think it's kind of nice in February, we're talking about fishing.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
that far away.
No, it's not. It's going to come up fast. And we have, I don't know if you know this too, usually we have 50 pegs. We added an additional 25 this time. They are allowing us now to fish in Onondaga Lake. So we have 25 pegs on Onondaga Lake now. So we are now, we have 66 pegs, no, 64 pegs sold so far.
Wow.
Yeah, so 9 pegs left.
Where will you have your headquarters if the Red Mill is closed?
So opening ceremonies, I wanted to keep in Baldwinsville, so we are doing it at Mohegan Manor. So I'm thrilled that we're able to keep it here. We actually outgrew Red Mill because we have 75 teams, so I wouldn't have been able to do it at Red Mill anyway. So Mohegan, I asked around that can hold us. He said he could not hold us for closing, so we are going to do it at Elks Club in Liverpool.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so which is nice, right on the river. If you know of anything else, this time we are doing Elks Club. Well, I'm sorry, I want to do it at VFW, but that's your parade day. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So I can't do it. You guys already have them booked.
They might be a little busy that day.
Yeah, they are. I love the Elks or VFW. They're so good to us. So,
Oh, great.
yeah, we've had our closing ceremonies there
All right,
before
well, so
too.
send me some of that information and
Okay.
we'll get back to you quick.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thanks, and we'll hear back from you. Well, we'll talk to you before we start pegging and thinking about the pegs
Okay.
with that one. All right, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Very good.
Have a good night.
You too, thank you. We'll move on to trustees' comments. Mark?
I don't have anything on the agenda specifically or to add to it, but I would like to request an executive session.
Negotiation?
Yeah, an update the board.
All right, we'll make that item C under new business. All right. Ruth?
Nothing for me, just the agenda.
Okay. Bruce?
I would like to also have an executive session, so I'd like to piggyback on Mark's, as opposed to having a whole new item. It's another contract update.
Okay, so we'll just call that the mega executive session. All right, is that it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Meg?
Just the agenda.
Michael?
Agenda.
Andy?
Agenda.
I just have a couple things. To remind people, the election, March 18th, 12 to 9 in this room. We have 3 of our board members that are up, and then we have a 4th name on the ballot, so there will be added significance to the voting, so we hope people get out and vote and have your voice heard. Continue to work with some of the politicians in the state, particularly Will Barkley, and trying to get the governor and his cohorts to reconsider some of the criminal justice reforms that have been put into place regarding bail, regarding the revealing of perhaps like anonymous tips becoming part of evidence turned over to defense attorneys, the fact that judges no longer have the option to consider the dangerousness of a person standing in front of them after they've been arrested and has to let them go back out on the street. There is some growing momentum. I think there's a lot of people, most of the police organizations in the state have been involved with sounding off, and most of the judges, the DAs, so they're being heard in Albany, and hopefully there'll be some changes. Things like that don't usually change easily, so we'll just have to keep on them and hope that we hear something soon. A reminder for businesses that the annual Chamber of Commerce Member Showcase is April 28th at Anheuser-Busch. Call Mary Ann at the Chamber if you're interested and haven't heard about this. I was told by Supervisor Sykes and Van Buren that The state has told him that they're going to pave Route 48 from Farrell Road to the village line. No paving intended to be in the village. And we have some bad state property right here from like the Four Corners to Tappan Street. Along the bridges, it's in terrible shape. So may make some contact with the state and see what we can get from them. It's not a huge stretch that we'd have in the village. Maybe they could include that with that project. Welcome aboard one of our new part-time police officers, Officer Nicolini. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. You didn't have anything you wanted to address the board? Okay. All right, that's all I have. We'll move to department heads. We have Joe Fratteschi here tonight, it says on the thing. Wow.
I got the right name tag. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again.
Anything from the legal side of things that we need to know?
Nothing. I will stick with the agenda.
Okay. We'll move to codes. Greg?
Just want to remind anyone that owns rental property in the village that we do have a rental registry. You are required to register your rental property in the village. That starts this April. And wanted to remind everyone there's not a fee for this. It's just a registry so that we have your contact information in case there are any issues that come up with your property. We've gotten quite a few registration forms in, but there's still quite a few outstanding. Also, still people that are being reminded to shovel their sidewalks. We're this far into winter. We're finally starting to get some quantifiable snow, and we're having some issues with snow removal. The village has had to go out and remove snow from properties. It's pretty costly to the property owner to have that happen, and we'd like them to get that done before we have to. Just let the public know also that Fire Station number 3 is under construction up on 117 Oswego Street, and hopefully that'll be moving forward through the summer, and we can look forward to having our nice new fire station up and running soon. And that's all I've got.
Very good. How's everything at O'Reilly's?
O'Reilly's moving along fine. Hopefully they'll be looking at April for an opening. They've been done in Central Square for probably over a month, and they're not open yet. So they're looking, I guess, at a spring grand opening.
Very good. Thanks for all the info, Greg.
You're welcome.
Greg, have you heard anything from the developer on Lock Street about certificates of completion? Any type of schedule on that?
The last I talked to Joe Alberici over there, he is probably looking at March or April to have his first building finalized.
Right. So they're still, I see them working in there all the time, but
They are.
way behind schedule, so that's why I was.
They're very close on their first building. Their second building is catching up. They're starting sheetrock on the third floor of the second building, so they said that one's going to move along a lot faster than the first. They're going to really go try and get those buildings open.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Good. Thanks, Greg.
You're welcome.
Village clerk, Mo?
I just wanted to remind residents that village taxes will be in your mailboxes on March 1st. They're due by April 1st without penalty. Also, the election is March 18th, as the mayor said. We have 4 nominees for 3 trustee spots, and that is a 4-year term. Otherwise, I'll stick to the agenda.
Very good. Okay, on the other side of the room, we'll go Senior Center. Ruth?
Just a couple things. The Baldwinsville Community Band will be at Canton Woods on Wednesday, March 11th at 7 p.m. Everyone's welcome to come on and enjoy. It's one of their first concerts of the season, so come on in. And then on St. Patrick's Day, come and celebrate with us at 11:30. Rick Innisona's School of Irish Dance will be at the Senior Center to perform traditional step dance, and that they always put on a good show. They've been coming for several years, and you'll really enjoy it if you take time to come in and see that. And that's it.
Very good. Move on to Public Works. Steve?
Just the agenda.
And we'll go to the police. You don't look, oh, we've got a Chrissy Allen up there. Wasn't there a little while ago? How you doing, boss?
Good, how are you?
Good. How's everything out on the streets?
Good.
Anything to report?
No.
Okay.
Stick to the agenda.
We'll live with that. Move on to pending business. Item A, can I get a motion approving the proposed local law to amend the village code, section 292-19 and 261-30, to prohibit discharge of sump pump water onto public lands in a manner to create a hazard or nuisance, and to prohibit the discharge of sump pump water to sanitary sewage facilities.
Moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks for the work, Greg, getting that done. Move on to new business. Can I get a motion to renew the current vision plan at the same rate with Shelter Point effective March 1st, 2020?
Move.
Second.
Any discussion? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item B, can I get a motion authorizing the village engineer to submit a request to the town of Lysander to extend the town's Emmerich Road Water District to include the eastern portion of the village-owned highway garage property that is located at 1963 West Genesee Street Road?
Moved.
I'll second that.
Steve, you want to explain what, for people who wouldn't know why we would want that to happen?
Sure. The property that the highway garage is on, 1963 West Genesee Street Road, is a large parcel, and we've considered subdividing it and selling off 2 lots that are fronted on Emmerich Road. There's no water available on the property because we are, the highway garage is actually an outside user in regards to how the village sells water. We would like to have water available to those 2 spots. They do have sewage available to those 2 proposed lots, so they'll be more valuable with water and sewer. So if we extend the water district right now is limited to the east side of Emmerich Road, so it goes from Genesee Street up Emmerich Road and up to Eileen Drive and then down Eileen Drive. So the west side of Emmerich Road is not in the water district. If we extend the water district to include just the very southern portion of Emmerich Road on the west side, our 2 lots that we're proposing to subdivide out will be within the water district, and we'll have water and sewer on those 2 lots when we do, if we do make the decision that we are going to sell them.
Very good. Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second and an explanation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Before we go into executive session, anything else that we need to address? Village business? Seeing none, can I get a motion to move into executive session for updates on negotiation and 2 separate contracts?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried, no action anticipated. See you next month.